We're in the middle of a thunderstorm. It is a wildly disruptive moment in technology, in search, in discovery, and if you imagine you're doing a car race, it's hard to overpass someone in perfect conditions, but when it's raining, all bets are off. You can
Right.
make up and pass and
Right.
wildly change your positioning in disruptive moment. So to get practical, AI is surfacing intelligence from a bunch of places.
Hi, everybody. It's Andrea Gordon, your host on Realizations. This is the podcast about everything real estate. To those of you who haven't watched my podcast before, I started this podcast because I got really angry during the NAR DOJ lawsuits and the commission lawsuits. And I thought, okay, I can stay angry for years, or I can do something positive with that anger. And what I wanted to do was to introduce the American public to what it is real estate agents do, the varying sorts of vendors we deal with, the effect we have on local government, the effect we have on the economy, different kinds of products that we are always getting bombarded with, different people that we work with, lenders, plumbers, painters, designers, the marketing that we have to do. And so today I'm very excited, and I'm going to mangle your name, I'm sure. Steve Marcinuk is in the house. Hello, Steve. Nice to see
Hey,
you.
it's
He is,
uh it's Marci you got it. It's Marcinic. It rhymes with arsenic, which
there
may or
you
may not be a good association. There you go.
There you go. And he is actually right at the moment in Medellin, Colombia, although his business is based between the two places of Florida and Colombia in our incredible global world. And he has a company called KeyCrew, which we're going to find out all about right now. And so just welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell us exactly what KeyCrew does. And then I'm going to ask you a bunch of embarrassing questions that get us to the point where you formed Key Crew.
That delighted. So KeyCrew is a real estate media startup company. We own and operate 6 digital print publications focused on a wide range of audiences interested in real estate. So from consumers looking to buy, sell, and get information on their own properties up through, yeah, publications focus more on institutional capital allocators, private office, those types of folks trying to understand the commercial sector. And what's really fun about what we do is we don't just publish content through our own channels reaching 40,000 plus folks per month, but we're very aggressively licensing and syndicating our content out to a very wide portfolio of other publishers and to the AI companies themselves in order to wildly disrupt the reach, finding new ways to reach new audiences. And it's kind of part of this whole new media ecosystem. I could wax on about it. I imagine we'll go down that path. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with it too.
Very cool. Okay. And how did you end up doing this? What brought you to this place in your life where this mattered to you?
I appreciate the question. I have always been an entrepreneur. I always loved startup life. I was the kid with the lemonade stand at 5, and I'm delighted to, now that I have 2 young boys, my 4-year-old, help him start his first business. We have a 3D printer, and we print out little toys and games and things that he sells to other friends of his at school. So just entrepreneurship has always been like the most fun part of how you could possibly earn a living and make an impact. So I've just been serial entrepreneur from a very young age. This is, I guess, my third proper startup. All things in my adult life, post lemonade stand and some other things through college. All of them have been focused on media, technology, and in that
Hmm.
space. I've just always had a fascination with the way that information is consumed, distributed, and it's really fun to be able to capture, create, and syndicate really
Hmm.
good insights around the real estate space. And
Hmm.
as a side point, part of why real estate is just that I've always loved real estate. My wife and I have a small portfolio of investment properties that we happily manage, and it's just been really fun to bridge that very much hands-on physical world of real estate with
Hmm.
this whole AI digital world where I spent half my days talking to computers. So yeah, that's it.
Are you an engineer yourself?
No, I considered going to engineering school to study computer science. I studied business and entrepreneurship and marketing, yeah,
Mhm.
undergraduate, and That's but always been had my fingers in technology. I like the
Got
business
it.
side of tech.
Got it. And it's interesting for me. I have not, I do a ton of marketing. I'm a huge marketer, but I have not really been working deliberately to connect up with AI in any real way. And yet, in the last, I want to say month and a half, I've had 5 people come to me telling me that ChatGPT told them that I was the person to come to in my particular area, which is Berkeley, California.
Yep.
How is that happening? Why is
Yeah.
that? Why are they recommending me? How is AI finding me?
Yeah, for sure. So the way we map it out is we've done many thousands of iterations to try to reverse engineer some of this on our side. The AI search engines, so ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Anthropic, Ask
Mhm.
News, a lot of these platforms, they get their information from publicly available sources. I think
Mhm.
for most folks, the best description I heard of how AI search works is it's really like 3 Bing or Google searches wrapped up in a trench coat, pretending to be a big,
Yeah,
pretending
right.
a big person. So they really are public querying publicly available information. So it's people tend to think that they scraped and analyzed and some deep intelligence thing. It's
They did.
mostly going out retrieval, doing a bunch of quick searches, and then making sense of that and delivering it to you on a silver platter. So everything you've done up until now to establish yourself as a proper market leader is moving the needle. So that's probably for most folks, that's the good news is if you've been working hard and doing a great job and putting yourself out there, that's a
28
really good
years.
foundation.
28 years of being a top producer.
So that helps. I'll put it
Yeah.
to you, that helps.
Yeah.
To go a little bit under the hood, though, it's the good news is if you're already ahead, you're probably going to continue to stay ahead to you have momentum and inertia, which is great. Good news for the folks who aren't necessarily as established
That
is
was
that
my
we
next
are,
question. How do you do
yeah,
it?
we're in the middle of a thunderstorm. It is a wildly disruptive moment in technology, in search, in discovery. And it's, yeah, if you imagine you're doing a car race, it's hard to overpass someone in perfect conditions, but when it's raining, all bets are off. You can
Right.
make up and pass and
Right.
wildly change your positioning in disruptive moment. So to get practical, AI is surfacing intelligence from a bunch of places. Generally speaking, 10% of what influences AI search, according to McKinsey and our own tests, is your own website. What you put on your own website helps, matters, is important. There's also a
Mhm.
certain influence that comes from social media
Mhm.
platforms. So that's something. And that I would include in that Reddit and Quora and all these public forums where people are talking about
Right.
it. So that's part of it. And all that I would say is that's your owned channels. The channels that you
Right.
control and can you decide what you put on that, that's part of it.
Mhm.
But for better or worse, a lot of what's influencing this is what you don't have direct control over. That's other people's websites. So news media,
Mhm.
huge influence. That's a primary source. What's published by third-party media, that's a very big part of it.
Mhm.
Announcements, press releases moves the
Mhm.
needle a little bit. Getting all those sometimes silly sounding top agent in XYZ from some organization that no one's ever heard of, for better or worse, that's influencing it. And then also the directory sites really matter. In
Yeah.
real estate specifically, all the directory sites where you get the reviews and they rank, those directories have some significant sway. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. You do
Right.
have to focus on all of them, but if you can raise the boats on all those, it'll help a lot.
See, all for all my viewers out there who are realtors who are new in the business, this is really helpful information. Why did you name the company Key Crew? Curious about that.
Just a fun pun. Key opens doors,
Right.
crew helping to build great teams. Key crew. It's
Got it.
yeah.
Got it.
I wish it was deeper. We went through a lot of different iterations. Keycrew.co. Yeah.
Honestly, we all go to Google every day. So, I think silly names are. Now, by the way, do you know how Google became Google? The name Google?
I that Google is a number with 100 zeros. Um,
Aha.
so I hope I don't embarrass myself on the exact etymology of it, but I believe a Google is like a million has 6 zeros, a billion has nine. A Google is I believe, a number with 100 zeros after it. So it's just a really big number, and it's a
Okay,
fun
so
sounding word for a tech company.
yeah,
And
so
that's
it's a
also, I
fun
believe,
pun.
part of their like when you go down, you scroll down and it's like result GOOOOO for like all the pages. They just kind of
Right.
keep expanding that out. I
Got
believe
it.
that's it. Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. So, where were you born? I'm curious.
Yeah. Born and raised in Westport, Connecticut, so Fairfield County, a suburb of New York City, and then went to school in Philadelphia. I went to
Mhm.
business school undergraduate in Philly.
There you go. And what led you to Florida?
Sure. So after after college, I took a 1 year backpacking trip, which became 7 years. And I was doing, I called myself a bit of an executive vagabond. I was traveling and doing tech startups out of a backpack from a wide range of places. And it was partially spurred because thinking that business was entrepreneurship, I went into an environment where everyone I was in school with wanted to go into hedge funds, finance,
Right.
consulting, or big corporate infrastructure. And I had a bit of I don't know, not even a quarter life crisis, but whatever you say when you're like 19 years old and you're like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I need to get out of here. So I took a right turn. I was volunteering in Southeast Asia. And candidly, I'm between South Florida and Medellin, but I'm spending most of my time in South America these days. And I came here for real estate investment, met a wonderful
Mhm.
woman who's now my wife, and we have a couple kids. And we have a foot in both continents, but this is probably more of a home base than
And also, if you have two kids and they're in school, you can't be moving around too much. How old are your children?
I got a 4 year old and a 2 year old,
Wow.
two little boys. And
Okay,
we do,
I'll send you my children's books. I have two children's books.
I would be delighted. I would be absolutely delighted. They're curious little fellas, and we do actually try to travel rather extensively.
And yeah,
So yeah.
one of them, they're both of I have pets. People who know me know I don't have kids. I have pets. I have three little dogs, two cats, and two parrots. I have a Senegal parrot named Bayoma, and I have a Pacific parrotlet named Percival. So the books are about my parrots because I researched it a little bit and found out that there aren't too many children's books about birds. And birds are great pets, and they're easier to care for than dogs or cats in many ways, and less expensive in many ways. Um,
And
I think,
children as well. They're cheaper
yeah.
and easier to take care of, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, when you are looking at AI and the direction that AI is taking and all of the disruption that is going on in the real estate industry right now, do you have any sense of a prognosis for what might happen in the future in relationship to AI and real estate? What's going to be the position of realtors in this situation?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so for KeyCrew Media, for our own publications, we love we're interviewing hundreds of experts per month across the gamut of the real estate industry, a lot of local experts, a lot of tech platforms, and
Mhm.
folks in commercial across the industry. So thankfully, we've had a front seat view to a lot of these conversations over the last couple of years. There are a limited number of companies that are taking the radical position that you no longer need an agent, a realtor to sell a property. Everyone else I've talked to, including much more sophisticated startups with a much more nuanced perspective, would say that yes, there is likely a market for a limited number of folks in specific use cases who want to buy or sell most significant asset in their lives without trusted guidance from someone who knows what they're doing. So it is, I would say that some of these companies that are focused on removing realtors from the equation I would bet, would have a limited amount of success in their use case. And we're seeing that start to play out.
Mhm.
That's what is much more, and then so that's part one. Complete replacement, I think
Don't see that happening.
no one sophisticated who knows what they're talking about would say that's going to happen.
Mhm.
Part two, technology, AI specifically, is allowing decision makers, novice decision makers, to make more informed decisions across a wide range of industries. I just saw an announcement that one of Google's new integrations of their AI platform is allowing you to analyze a stock like an expert. Maybe not,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of tools that are coming out that are both for real estate professionals and for real estate lay people
Right.
to better understand in a meaningful way, not just like fake intelligence. Oh, I think I know what I'm doing and you're just going to work for me to actually having some pretty good understanding of educating themselves about the process. That could be everything from ChatGPT helping to understand the process to using better tools to find their own comps, to taking photos of their properties and touching them up. There's a wide number of things that people are doing to help
Mhm.
educate and improve the process of getting ready to buy or sell a home. And so I think that all of that is to say, and sorry for the long answer here, but
No, this is it's
yeah,
good.
it's that for realtors who want to either stay competitive or become increasingly competitive or really dominate a market, they got to up their game, and that's
Right.
fine. Those who've been in the industry for a while have seen all sorts of disruptions, and this would
Right.
probably fit under another opportunity that you
Yeah.
could take advantage of to become someone who, listen, properly educating your clients, working with them to achieve their goals better, the human aspect of really supporting and helping them to achieve their goals in a smart way and guiding them as an expert advisor. I don't see that going anywhere. And the
Right.
importance of that is going to be unbelievably more important as you have folks who know just enough to really need someone smarter than them, better informed than them to help them with the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, I know. I can't tell you the number of times people would watch an HGTV show and call me up and have all the answers when and it's largely about the questions to ask. I'm also getting my PhD right now, and I'm taking one class at a time. So I'm going to be the oldest PhD in the history of PhDs. But one of the things I notice is that you can use AI really effectively when you're studying and educating yourself, as long as you don't rely on it entirely. You have to know the questions to ask, and then you need to know how to interpret it in such a way that you make it personal, make it authentic. The people that are relying on AI too much will find that it actually, unfortunately, sometimes will lie or hallucinate and will want to please you. I actually had an assignment where I was supposed to write an annotated bibliography and I was late. And so I thought, oh, I'll just let AI do it for me. So I let AI do it for me. And after feeding it a bunch of information about what I needed, it came up with this absolutely perfect list, all APA, all perfect sections, what have you. And I just thought, I don't want to be a cheater. I'm going to look up these books and I'm going to read them, right? I looked up every single one. They didn't exist. So then I went back to the AI and said, hey, why did you
What
lie to
gives?
me? And it
Yeah.
literally answered me and said, I was hoping to please you.
How long ago was this? I've seen the anecdote. I'm curious how recently that was.
That was about 6 months, 8 months ago. Yeah.
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 It's, I have seen that myself on a similar timeline. For the better, the tools are getting unbelievably better.
Right.
The degree to which we're seeing hallucination, it's going down dramatically.
That's
The
great.
tools are getting smarter. They're able to do more and more tasks and they're getting more and more connected. This
Yeah.
to me is the biggest thing for folks to understand in how to use AI is that it's no longer the direction it's going in is it's no longer a call and response kind of
Hmm.
thing. Help me with this thing, task over. There's two there's two expansions to something like ChatGPT or Claude that are really remarkable that if you're
Hmm.
not paying attention to these things are really worth looking into. The first is there's a lot of noise around agentic AI. Simple terms, that means it keeps trying.
Yeah.
It goes and does a thing, goes and does a thing, goes and does a thing. It's not go and do this thing, it gives you a response, then you have to prompt it again. It goes, looks at the end, okay, I need to take another step. I need to take
Right.
another step. So it's
Right.
able to stack on top of itself in a very human style way to achieve more complicated things because it's taking the feedback from the environment. And that's a game changer. You
Right.
can give it more complicated tasks now, and that's worth looking into. It's straight off the shelf with a lot of the big tools. The other thing, which I think is really interesting for realtors to pay attention to, is connectivity. The tools. So if you take an AI tool and it's just sitting alone without access to anything else, it's very limited in its capabilities. You have an
Right.
employee and all they have is a pencil, you're only able to do so much.
Right.
But if you give them tools, right? If you give them access to your HubSpot account, you give them access to your Gmail, you give them access to your calendar, all of a sudden you have a brain in the center of an ecosystem where it can call, response, do thing, et cetera, et cetera. And you combine those two things, right? You
Yeah.
have a tool that can think and go back and try stuff. And it can, we're using this daily in what we're building out. Schedule a meeting with this, check my calendar, find an availability, write an email with the availability of that, send the email, update HubSpot. That's one request. So that's happy to chat more about it. That gets wonky and in the weeds, but
No, it's
that's the
great.
state of it. That's where we're at now. It's unbelievable the speed at which this stuff is evolving.
Oh, no. I was yesterday, I'm on the Agent Advisory Council for California with Compass, and we had our meeting yesterday. And it was really funny because they had come up with a whole list of questions that we should all mull over and come up with. You know how they try and create group connectivity and camaraderie by asking you to be little groups and what have you, and these things. And our question had to do with agent use of AI. So everybody's talking away, and the question was very long and involved. And I thought, what the hell? So I went on chat and I asked chat the question, and it came up with a plan of action. And what was really fascinating was the plan of action was really specific, and it also came to the same conclusions that the group had to take an hour for. ChatGPT figured it out in, oh, I don't know, 25 seconds, maybe less. And it was like 20 pages long. So,
Yeah,
and I showed it to
yeah.
everybody, and I'm now disseminating what ChatGPT came up with to all the people that were in my little group because they were all like, oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. What you're doing is amazing. And I think that talking about agents in the future leaning into their humanness, into their authenticity, into the actual things that they can do that a machine cannot do is going to be where it's at. Because a lot of these more robotic tasks that you're talking about, why not let AI do them for you? Why
Yeah.
not? You don't need to be figuring out schedules or figuring out calendars to work or any of that stuff. You have assistants who can do it, but if you can automate that, then you can send them off to do something else. And you're going to become that much more efficient. It's going to be amazing. So, Steve,
Yeah. If I may, I'll
yes.
add just to, because I think we've been very pro tech, et cetera, and we are, but
Mhm.
the ethos of the company we're building out to we're unbelievably pro-human
Yeah.
intelligence because
Yeah.
what we have here are tools that need that raw ingredient, that active ingredient from folks who know what they're talking about outside of this little world of technology into what's actually happening. And that is just we're walking the walk in this that we're publishing now 500 plus articles per month about real estate trends in different markets. And the way we do that is that, yeah, we have a bit of an AI tech stack to help us to draft the content, but
Hmm.
every single article starts with a conversation with an expert who knows what's actually happening and is able to address misconceptions or educate or has a real human perspective on an issue that's misunderstood, that AI only works with the information that's already out there. And
Right.
so that's where I would position anyone who's a professional who really wants to outperform in their class. What is it that you know that the machines don't? What is it that you have access to or able to understand that's outside the scope of what a little machine box can do? So
Hmm.
there's plenty of opportunity to be human and
Yeah.
leverage the tech.
This has been an absolutely wonderful conversation, and we actually talked longer than I anticipated us talking, because you're very interesting. And by the way, as a theater director, I must say you have a beautiful voice. Did you study voice at all?
I never did. No, I just
Interesting. Okay, so how can people get a hold of you? How can people take advantage of Key Crew? Are you in a stage where you're actually having customers and things like that?
sure. Thank you. So keycrew.co is our website. And because we're a startup, it's not .com, it's .co. Gotta
Mhm.
play with that. Every month, we're interviewing hundreds of experts in different markets. We love connecting with experts across a wide spectrum of real estate knowledge to feed into our editorial coverage. 95% of what we do is non-paid, non-commercial. We love our sources. And if anyone wants to contribute insights, you should be able to see a pretty bright orange button in the upper right-hand corner around getting interviewed, where we can set you up with an interview with our editorial team, listen to you, and help to, from that, you feed our ecosystem. You get nice visibility in published articles around what you're sharing, use it for your own promotional purpose, and we get high quality content that we can promote. And yeah, the way we monetize is for teams or individuals who want more visibility. They want to leverage the power of our network to position in chat, to get regular media coverage. We do that as a targeted, low cost paid service, but we're not particularly pushy about it. We're building a media platform first and are fortunate enough that there's enough people who like what we offer that they are happy to pay to scale that up.
That's very cool. Steve, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate you. And what is your email address too?
Steve@keycrew.co.
Okay, that's an easy one. I'll send you my books.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Send to the Florida address. It's less shipping.
There you go. Take good care. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
If you loved hearing from these incredible voices shaping real estate, you'll want to catch what's next. Click the video on screen to keep discovering more inspiring stories.